Joellen did not come to play with Rulla at the reunion, like at all. And I was here for it just a little bit, but girl, you also got on my nerves, honey.
How we get up, just call back, right back. We can spend, then get it right back, man. She just gotta want all of that, so that's why I bought.
Hey y'all, welcome back, honey. It's time for us to get into Real Housewives of Rhode Island. I know y'all thought this was going to be a Love Island USA video. No, we on a different island, honey, and we are on Rhode Island, okay? And I want to get into a little bit of the finale. I also want us to talk about the reunion, part 1 and 2, and let's wrap all of this up. So I'm so sorry. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step 2, step 2, step 2, step 2. So here we are. Let's get into it. So during the season finale, all the couples went down to Block Island, and Rulla and Brian actually were in attendance. And I was a bit surprised, but also not surprised because it was the last trip of the season. But I was a bit surprised that they showed up because I feel like Rulla has been running out of a lot of scenes to avoid from having certain conversations. Right? Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I got this going on. Oh, if it's not me that's sick, then his mom is sick. Like she always would come up with something to get up out the scenes. So I was glad to kind of see them there, and we'll talk more about it, right? So Joellen and Liz seemed like they may have made up. They were having an issue based on the whole Alicia being homeless situation. So it seems like they're in a better place, right? Alicia's fiance, I believe his name is Billy. I like Billy, y'all. Alicia, you're gonna have to pay for your crimes, girl. I'm not gonna hold you. I think you have to pay for your crimes because you had me thinking that Billy was the problem. And I have now changed my thoughts on that. I'm starting to think that you are the problem, love. I'm not gonna hold you, okay? So he wants to do a reproposal to Alicia. Meanwhile, Ruler wants to confront Joellen about the video that she's been going around showing everybody. All right. And that is one of my problems with Joellen. I do understand her feeling like, hey, you're calling me a liar. I'm not a liar, girl. I got the proof. But at the same time, you also sit in front of Ruler's face and make it seem like you're trying to be a friend to her. But really, you're going around spreading information before you even bring it directly to Ruler. Now, granted, that's the part that I have an issue with. But granted, I do feel like it wouldn't matter if she went directly to Ruler or not. Ruler is still going to make it appear as though what you're showing her is not actually what you're showing her. And I don't know. I think Ruler is embarrassed. I do think she and Brian are working on their relationship. But Ruler, you and Brian would fare much more better on the show if you just stand in it. Like you didn't do this to yourself. He did it. You do not owe it to him, in my personal, married or not, because he violated the vows, in my opinion. So I don't feel like you owe it to him to continue to save face for him. Like he did this to you, so he should suffer for it. I'm sorry. He also put your children in a compromising position. And now that you both have done that by getting on this television show, your kids are probably going to have to address certain rumors and stuff throughout the school and throughout Rhode Island because of y'all stuff. So, yeah, girl. Yeah, it's you constantly in denial. And I don't think that you're in denial. I think that you just try to put up this front for the ladies. Also to show that you're good, you're fine, you're this is none of that. Whoever's telling you this is lies. And you know the M well that it's not no lies. Like just stand in it. Like, girl, I don't know. Go ask Brian. He didn't lie to me, so maybe you'll get the truth out of him. Okay. Either way, Billy tries his best to propose to Alicia. And I feel like Alicia made that very awkward. Okay. I just feel like that was, oh, you're gonna get on your knee. Oh, you're about to do this. Oh, wow. Just little things that she would say. It was still cute all at the same time, though. So it worked out. He reproposes. She says yes. I did not really like how, who was it? Was it Kelsey that was looking out the window watching what was going on? I feel like it was Kelsey. Maybe it was Rosie, but I felt like them wanting to yell out the window, and one of the husbands had to say, "No, chill out. Wait, don't say anything yet." Right? It was like, why are you trying to take away from her moment to make it about you? Just wait until it's time to like celebrate. Just hush. Close the window. Scoot back. All right. Either way, Rula and Joellen do talk, and Rula says that she was on her deathbed. Rula, the exaggerations are crazy. She says, I was on my deathbed when everybody was in the castle. Not deathbed, honey. So she thinks that she should have been pulled to the side and told what was going on as far as the video. Knowing that I was on my quote unquote deathbed, you had no consideration for me. You should have come to me and you should have told me something, right? And so Joellen's like, oh, well, girl, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to hurt you at all. But, you asked for proof. So I went and I got you proof. Joellen, you're definitely trying to hurt her. You are. You are. You're trying to prove your point, and if it happens to hurt her or Brian, so be it. Shoulder shrug, okay? But I will say this: I don't think that Joellen can hurt you any more than what Brian already has. Okay. So yeah. Rulla says that she doesn't want to see the video. She keeps saying the video was altered, but she doesn't even want to look at the video to know that it's altered. Bye, girl. I, don't put your bye, girl. So Joellen's husband, he pulls Brian, right, for a chat about his wife and her being called a liar, right? So Joellen's husband, I can't even think of his name. Is it Gary? I think his name is Gary. Because you got a Gary and then you got a Jerry. Jerry with a G. And I think that's Liz's husband. So Joellen's husband, Gary, he says that he saw the video for himself. And he asked, how is my wife a liar when the video was out there? The video was out there, and Brian says, I don't know how she's a liar. I mean, I don't know. I mean, did I say she was a liar? Okay. Maybe I did say that she was a liar. Either way, listen, okay? Hey, I did it. Whatever you want to think, I did. It was the biggest mistake of my life. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe it was hormones, maybe middle age. I'm not sure what the hell going on. But either way, I blame it on me, say it's my fault. Okay? Like, it's okay. Like, listen, me and my wife, we're trying to move forward. Okay? That's what, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. Oopsie doopsie to your wife. Okay? I'm the liar. I don't know how she was a liar. We're trying to move on. Can we just move on? Can we all just get along? All right? Well, I don't think that we can. I don't think that we can move on. I don't think that we can. All right. But either way, Joellen does apologize to Rulla and says it will never be brought up again. And we knew that was a lie because the reunion is coming up. We have to bring it up again. So Gary tells everyone else that Brian did come to him and admit that the video is real. Meanwhile, Brian is admitting the video is real, which is crazy because I feel like he got to the reunion and I don't feel like he really admitted that the video was real there, but you admitted it to Brian because you're scared of Brian. Meanwhile, you and your wife are not on the same page as usual because she's having a conversation with Joellen and she's saying that it's altered. I don't know what y'all got going on, but I'm about sick of it. And it's to the point where I really don't even want to see them on the show next season. But being that Rulla done went and got this nose job, I'm sure Rulla is always here to take all the money that she can get. Okay, so it is what it is, I guess. So either way, the couples play a game at dinner, and Kelsey had a question, right? And hers is there one person in the group that will stab you in the back and smile in your face? And she says in the past, she would have said that it was Joellen, right? But she doesn't think, no, what's that? I don't know. Yeah, I think that could have been, I don't know if that was Kelsey's question to Rulla. Not sure, or maybe it was Rulla's question. Not sure. Either way, in the past, the person said that they would say that it was Joellen, but she doesn't think anyone here fits that role. And I think that was Rulla that said that because Rulla had just had that conversation with Joellen earlier that day where they agreed to move forward. Don't bring it up no more. We're cool, right? At some point, we do see where Rulla kind of gets emotional about some things. Alicia keeps bringing up Joellen. And Gary is getting annoyed, okay, with whatever conversation. I think that Joellen may have been the reason why Rulla was crying. Alicia kept bringing it up. You could see that Gary was kind of getting annoyed with that. At some point, Rosie calls out Brian as the problem, and nobody else at the table was the problem but him. I'm like, you're right. Rulla is embarrassed. She's trying to protect her husband. She just looks a fool. Okay, we learned that she did file a no contact order on Brian. I don't think she really filed that, but I believe she went to the courts about the tracker on her vehicle. And because of that, the judge automatically gives you one because of that. He was arrested. He was charged with a misdemeanor DV charge, right, for putting a tracking device on her car. And the whole time that I knew he put this tracking device on her was to see exactly where you are as far as it pertains to the proximity of him and the mistress. So he could comfortably be with the mistress while he watches and see exactly where you are. when whole time you should have been leaving your car at the house, hopping in you a Uber or a taxi and going over there seeing what's going on, or hopping in somebody else's car. But that wouldn't have mattered. Why? Because he also has your location on your phone. Like, it's just too much. It's too much. It's too much. Because I'm sorry, y'all. If she wasn't ready to leave, she should have been ready to cheat. I'm just not gonna hold you. You should have been ready to do exactly what it is he's out there doing to you. So while you over here checking my location and you checking where I'm at on my phone and stuff, you gonna see that I'm at somebody else's house. So while you out getting hot, don't think I'm not. Feeling good in somebody's spot, getting hot, don't stop, just don't think I'm not. Come on, Candy, and I'm gonna repeat it every time if you're not ready to leave. So let's get to the reunion part one. I feel like the set looks really good. And I said, baby, the decorators do not get enough credit. The set designers do not get enough credit because I think they ate that down. All right. Rulla obviously has had a nose job and her nose looks a bit long. It doesn't really, it it's gonna grow on us. That's what I believe. It's gonna grow on us. But knowing that we saw what you look like before, whenever we see what you look like before, and we've gotten used to that look, and then you go and you get, a serious alteration to your face, it takes some time to grow on us. It does. But I just kind of everybody wants this like slick button type nose. She didn't look bad, but she didn't look like herself all at the same time. And it did look like it was a bit long. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was too skinny, but I don't feel like the last nose was that big. So I think it just comes out a bit more than what I would have wanted it to. But either way, okay. Rock out, girl. So Rosie and Kelsey talk about their issues, and Kelsey says that it wasn't about her not posting her, but she had info on Rosie prior to the show. And we learned that Rosie did pay Kelsey. Now, I don't think that was something that we knew in the beginning, but now I'm learning that she paid you. So you mean to tell me this lady paid you and you still over here showing yours? What's going on is that Kelsey, I don't think she ever really liked Rosie, right? And I think that she allowed the information that she learned about Rosie to precede her in her dislike. I feel like you having her over your house to do her hair, I feel like you did that in an effort to probably gain more information about her. For real, for real. But you never liked that lady, for real. Be clear. You never liked her all over some he say, she say type of stuff. That's really what it boils down to. So Rosie tells Kelsey that she doesn't think she's a slam pig, but she does think she's a terrible person. Baby, Kelsey was sitting up there trying really hard to put her and Rosie on the same page with the insults. Like, she really was trying hard to make it seem like Rosie did this to me. Rosie did this to me. Rosie is the bad part. Rosie. And it's like, Kelsey, you so problematic, love. Okay? You so problematic. I feel like Kelsey, since day one, you came with the negative energy. Period. You let the rumors, as I said, proceed, whatever the friendship was going to be. You let it, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Like, your reputation, quote unquote, precedes you the whole time. It was really lies that you were learning. And you held on to it like it was a fact. And then to learn that Joellen was slick behind some of it, let me tell y'all, I like Joellen, but that is a bitch to watch. That is a woman to watch. And as you're over here uncovering all of this stuff about other people, I guarantee you got a lot over there in your closet as well. So be careful. Be careful, girl, because they're going to let it out. Because at the end of, I believe, reunion part 2, that's where we saw Rulla tell Rosie, like, oh, something's going to have to be done for like the personalities and different stuff that's going on, things that's not being said. It's going to have to come out. And she said, oh, it will next year. I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to it because Joellen, they're going to be on your head. They are, girl. So good luck. So during the reunion, Kelsey asked Rosie if she thinks she sucks for a career. And Rosie says, yeah, I think so. I think you do. You know, I think you've been doing that for the past 10 years. And she's like, well, why? She says, because your only coworker was the girl down in Florida. BIT, I fell out. I said, Rosie, yes. Eat her up. Baby, Kelsey, you cannot hold a candle to Rosie when it comes to reading. Rosie be tearing you up. I love it. So Kelsey, she wasn't trying to hold herself accountable at all for anything. Everything was Rosie did this, Rosie did that. Rosie, are you gonna apologize for this? Rosie did. I don't even want them to be friends. I really, really don't. Because with them possibly becoming friends, it's just for me, I feel like Kelsey just wants information that she can use against Rosie at a later time. And honestly, if you would dig so deep to believe other people before you believe me, that you would believe other people before even taking the time out to get to know me, that you would believe anything Joellen is telling you instead of fact checking with me, I wouldn't want mm-mm. No. Even though at some point, Kelsey told her, like, if we're going to have a friendship or whatever, we need to do it outside of the show. True enough, yes, one needs to be built outside of the show, but you are not to be trusted. I don't care. Kelsey is not to be trusted at all. Now, Rosie does try to go on and explain her situation with her coworker. And Kelsey asked, she asked, like, I felt like Kelsey was pretty much talking like she knows Rosie in her life for a fact. That's how she was talking. Rosie tried to explain it. Joellen tells her that, well, the guy that you were with, he got a DUI. All right. And your name is in the police report, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, so wait, it's not just Kelsey talking, it's Joellen talking too. Like she knows things for a fact. And this is where Kelsey got her information from Joellen. And we asked Joellen for the police report and stuff. And then she says that she learned about this information from other police officers or something like that. I feel like number one, y'all are lying. That's number one. And I slick wish Rosie would have threatened y'all with an attorney. So bad. I wish she would have threatened y'all. Used her attorney to tell y'all, cut that out. Right? I'm ready for them to release the hounds on Joellen at this point. I am. The way Joellen was jumping into conversations, not really letting nobody talk, you know, it was getting on my nerves. Even though at the same time, Ashley was jumping in too in the beginning. I ain't gonna lie, I did not mind Ashley. I did not mind it. Because her jumping in was different than Joellen, and I feel like Joellen was a bit more vicious with hers. And I'm like, Joellen, shut up. I felt like Rulla sitting on the other side of the couch. Like, girl, shut the up. Shut up. Oh, she was getting on my nerves, honey. I was like, girl, what is going on here? Why? So now we're talking about Liz, right? Liz and Gary. And I believe that Rulla had to speak to Liz's cheatations or cheating insinuations that she made or whatever. And so Liz asked her, like, girl, have I ever mentioned anything to you about infidelity? And Rulla was like, no. I don't think so. I don't really believe Rulla. I'm not gonna hold you. So Liz goes on and she talks about a time that she was full line and how Rulla and Brian called Jerry to tell him about it. Now Rulla is denying this. Rulla like, girl, I ain't doing that like that. I don't know what you're talking about. So Liz says the whole goal was for Gary to hear about it anyway. She was ready for him to hear about it anyway because they were separated and she really wanted to get back with Gary at the end of the day. And Rulla is like, girl, I did not call that man. I don't know what you're talking about. Y'all can talk to Brian when he get out here. Brian eventually comes out with Gary and Gary does confirm that Brian did call him. Not Rulla, but Brian and another friend reached out to Gary to tell him about it. And Liz is still on some, well, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Because the whole goal was for him to hear about it in the first place. Now it's time for Rulla versus Joellen, right? And I love that Rulla was interrupting Joellen and calling her card a little bit. Like just interrupting her because I felt like Joellen spent a good bit of that time in the first half doing that. Right. So I was like, yeah, interrupt her. She getting on my nerves. Right. I don't think what Joe did in high school, though, was a factor. Us talking about what she did in high school, all of y'all are so far removed from high school that whatever happened, it doesn't matter. Not when it comes to throwing it as a dig towards somebody, right? But if she wants to speak on her childhood and high school as it relates to her own mother and her own storyline, that makes sense. But to like throw it up in her face like that, girl, throw that stuff up in your husband's face that he be doing. So Joellen and her mom, they are back on a rocky road. Remember, we saw them get on good terms. Now they're back on a rocky road because her mother didn't like how she was portrayed on the show. Okay, mama girl. Okay. Okay, girl. Truth hurts. All right. Joellen let us know that she was laid off from her job. She isn't sure if it had anything to do with Brian or not, which is interesting because later on in the reunion, she turns around and blames Brian for her not having a job. So it's like, which one is it? A lot of y'all were laid off. It was a group of y'all, probably for financial reasons, as to why you guys were laid off. But then you said you don't know if it had anything to do with Brian, but then you turn around and say that it had something to do with Brian. I don't necessarily think that it did. It could have. Maybe it had something to do with you being on this show. And they probably did not want any of the negative attention with you being on this show. I'm willing to believe that, yes. But Brian, I doubt it because some part of me feels like if they wanted to fire you, they would have fired you a long time ago. That would have already happened. But okay, Rulla kept interrupting. Okay. And Joellen was like, girl, like, why are you here? Like, be quiet. Like, you were only here for 3 episodes. Like, is this a new cast member? And I was so tickled. I was tickled because one, you ain't never lied. She was only here for like 3 episodes, child. Is she a new cast member with this new nose? But then the third one was, you see how it feels when you keep interrupting people and running your mouth. It was hilarious. So Joellen says that Brian threatened to sue the company, and Rulla, she's not believing any of this about Brian. Everything that Joellen is saying, she doesn't want to believe it. And I just want to shake Rulla so bad. Like, you are so annoying. You look crazy. And you look crazy behind him. He has you looking a fool. All right. Either way, Joellen was asked about how this affected her career, and she says it was too much, and now she's gonna just be a stay-at-home mom and focus on her kids. Now, what's really going on is Joellen finna make too much money from this show to go and work for anybody. For real, for real. Just like when the conversation came up about Alicia and her husband and her not knowing the finances, and Andy told her, listen, you're about to potentially be making more money than you've ever made in your life. Speaking on this show, so it will behoove you to know about your finances. And it's like, Joellen, that's the real reason, girl, that you're gonna be sitting back at home. And I don't fault you, girl. Stay back at home with your kids and make your money from this show. So Andy calls for a break, right? And Rulla is ready to show proof of Brian being in surgery the day that the video was made. Rulla, two things can be true. He could have had surgery that day, and he also could have stepped outside to that damn car with that lady. He could have took a lunch break and went and was with that lady. You're pissing me off. Okay. Liz and Alicia get into the conversation about homelessness, and Liz says that she was trying to protect Alicia from the opinions of others. First of all, she's a big grown woman. You don't need to protect her from anything. So I feel like that's bull. She does go on to apologize to her, though. I will say that. I had to pause, y'all, because my little man came running in here while I'm recording, child. So either way, let's get back into it. And I think I was talking about Liz and Alicia and the homelessness of it all, right? I didn't feel like Liz needed to protect Alicia from anything. I feel like Liz just internalized things. She says that she felt like she was being ambushed in the car. She felt like both of the ladies already knew what the conversation was going to be based on a prior conversation that was happening in a text thread or something like that. And Joellen's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Liz, baby, at the end of the day, whether this was going to be a topic of conversation or not, I think how you said it still hurt the feelings of Alicia. At the end of the day, I'm sorry. I feel like Liz was wrong right out the gate. You don't get to tell a person whether they were homeless or not. Like, I just, as a child, maybe if she was a grown adult or something like that, maybe you could tell her. I mean, I guess, I don't know. But because if she was homeless during her adult age, like, but she was the, nah, I still, you don't get to tell her that. You were wrong. Period. So sit in your SHI, which is what I think Joellen was trying to let her know. Sit in your stuff, girl. Take your accountability, honey. I think even Alicia told her that too. Like, don't be trying to make it seem like we ambushed you. You're taking my situation right now and doing exactly what you did at that time, which was flipping it and making it about you. And because you wanted your feelings validated. It was never about Liz, really. Like, that just really pissed me off. Like, I just, mm-mm. So Liz says that Alicia and Joellen knew what was going on. Of course, they're denying this, right? It is what it is. I don't agree. I don't agree with that at all. But let's keep moving. So Liz and Joellen, they talk about the fight, the kick of the chair, all of that. Joellen says that she owns her SHI, right? She feels like Liz doesn't always own her drama of it all. And I mean, y'all kind of do. Like, y'all, I mean, Joellen, you don't always own your stuff either, girl. Be clear. You don't. You don't. Y'all both have some similar issues. For real, for real. Liz and Joellen, they get into it. Liz tells her that Joellen embodies something that her soul rejects. So you went from being good friends with her, liking her, to really hating her. Because when you talk about something that your soul rejects, you can't stand Joellen. That's crazy. So Liz says that she was confused on the idea that she and Joellen were ever best friends. I said, yikes. So Joellen said, well, I thought that we were. You may have thought that, but Liz didn't think that. But I feel like, Liz, as long as Joellen was giving you what you wanted and telling you what you wanted to hear, you were okay with that. You were 1000% okay with all of that, until and calling you best friend and everything, until you felt like, oh, y'all ambushed me, which nobody ambushed you about anything. But okay, girl. So now we're getting into Kelsey and Rosie going back and forth again. At this point, for me, Kelsey is obsessed with Rosie. Anything that Rosie says, Kelsey denies it. And she acts like she knows Rosie's life, as I've already told y'all, more than Rosie knows her own damn life. Because there was a segment where a lot of questions were asked of Rosie, and she's debunking it and saying, and I'm just like, girl, you are obsessed with this woman. Kelsey opens up about the ex that she was with and how she didn't know that he was seeing other women until she ended up learning about it. And then eventually she met the girl that's down there in Miami, and they had a mutual understanding and agreement to not post him online at all. Everybody was really just giving side eye, like, okay, girl. So then she lets us know that she is living with Bill now, and she's still in communication. I'm saying she's still in communication with the ex, because when Andy asked him to be on the show, because I think he was filming some stuff with her, and he was all for it until he learned that it was Housewives, and he said no, absolutely not. So then Andy asked her, well, has he watched the show? What does he think of the show? And she said, oh, he loves it. So you're living with Bill. Your ex no longer pays your bills anymore, but your ex also loves the show. So y'all are still in communication. So how does Bill feel about that? Is Bill okay with you still being in communication with the ex that doesn't pay your bills anymore, because Bill pays for your car and you pay for your health insurance? Is that right? I think Kelsey is a little liar, y'all. I'm not gonna hold you. All the stuff that she tries to project onto Rosie about Rosie being the liar, I really think it's Kelsey. Not gonna hold y'all. So Rulla talks about how they had a shared tracking app. She's talking about the husband going into the tracking situation, but she also learned that it was on her car, and Joellen had to tell her that it was on the car. Baby, Joellen has been going very far to prove a point that she's telling the truth. She wasn't lying. I mean, she wasn't lying. She was definitely telling the truth. But at the same time, it's like, go ahead and admit that you wanted to watch her be hurt too. Like, be clear about that. Either way. So Rulla says Brian was trying to keep the mistress at bay, right? Brian, I think the information came out that he was married to a Spanish teacher before Rulla. Ruler says that when she and him got together, that him and the Spanish lady or the Spanish teacher were not together at that time. Joellen tells Ruler that, she kept asking her, when did you get married? When did you get married? And so she was like, none of your business. But eventually she came out. She says, we got married in 2016. He was divorced in 2010, right? Joellen's like, no, that's not necessarily true, because I'm looking at the documentation here. I said, baby, this is so messy. So it looks like the divorce was filed in 2011. He did not get a divorce, I guess, until 2016. So I guess the same year that they got divorced was the same year that Rulla and him when they got married. And I do feel like Rulla knew this. Rulla knew this. She may not have known exactly when the divorce and stuff went down, but I believe that it's possible that she knew about when. Well, I can't say that, because maybe he was dragging his feet on divorcing the wife, but as they got closer to the wedding date, he ensured to go ahead and finalize everything for the divorce of that other marriage right before he married Ruler. Girl, this man been lying to you from the beginning. He has got to go. He had like free yourself of that mental anguish, girl. Let that man go. Ruler says this is news to her ears about him being married when she got with him. Right? Ruler has the court documents. So first of all, Joellen shows her the court documents. She got the court documents in her face and she still didn't want to believe nothing. Ruler, like, then he gets out there and he was asked about the divorce. He says that, oh, I was divorced in 2012. He's still lying. You said 2010. He said 2012. Court document says he filed in 2011. It wasn't finalized until 2016. Ain't that a mess? How embarrassing. Ruler's like, this is news to her, and she's slightly getting emotional about it. She's embarrassed. He's an embarrassment. Get him off your arm. Get him off your arm, girl. Either way, Alicia, like I said, she's the problem in her relationship. Billy is deciding to give her up to 50% of his shares in the company if she at least just drive the baby to dance class, back and forth. At least do that for me. She don't even want to do that. She don't want to look at no paperwork. She don't want to help herself. She don't want to do nothing. But you talking about you got all these big ideas. Alicia, go away from me with this, please, and thank you. Okay. Brian and Ruler talking about he has a lawsuit against him because he made the mistress, I guess, part owner or something in his business. And Alicia saying this is before they ended up messing around. I don't believe it. He's lied so much that I believe that he cares and loves that lady so much that he decided to give her part ownership, which is so disrespectful knowing that he's married to you. And you probably was going to get that anyway, just off of being married. Imagine getting a divorce from this sucker and you got to sit up here when it's your turn to get whatever a stake in his business. If you can, you got to deal with the mistress too. That's a lot. And then she said they gave up their shares. Are you sure? Are you sure the shares have been given up? She's like, well, what else am I forgetting? So this is when Joellen wants to jump in and get ready to give even more information. I said, girl, baby, oh, I can't wait till they tag you. I cannot wait till they tag you. And I get it. I get it because Rula is very frustrating. But the way that Joe Ellen is like giving it to her, it's like, girl, your turn gonna come too. Andy asked Brian about the mistress calling him instead of it actually being the mama. He never answered the question. He only spoke to him dropping Rula off to the house saying that, oh, the kids would get upset if they would have seen me. He never answered the question. That man went to go be with his mistress on that day. That's what happened. I feel like y'all both are terrible liars. I do. If you got an open marriage, girl, just say that. That would make it look much more better than what it is. Like, I guess this is a mess. This is a mess. Either way, Gary was sitting there as Joellen kept firing back at Rula, and I'm like, Gary, you're not gonna say nothing. You're not gonna tell your wife to chill out and sit back. And then Gary speaks. Gary says his wife has been sitting up here being called a liar. So she is going to take this to the grave if she has to prove that she's not a liar. And I said, okay, that makes sense. That explains why Gary was not saying anything. On top of that, Gary also let the people know that he's met the mistress while she was out with Brian, and she approached, I believe, Joellen and him, calling Brian her boyfriend. That's another reason why Gary not saying anything. Gary, like, I know this lady based on their kids or whatever, and I think he said he knew her ex-husband or something like that. So yeah, I see why Gary not saying. Gary, like, yeah, because my wife not lying, and you know it. Child, and some part of me was like, I wanted Gary to say something and tell Joellen to chill out. But also at the same time, the way when he spoke up about stuff and then he said his wife she'll take this to the grave if she has to. I kind of liked how he stood behind and supported his wife at the same time. It also was giving, you don't get to call my wife a liar, threaten her job, and think that she's supposed to shut the hell up. No, keep talking. I got your back. So I kind of like that all at the same time. So I'm not gonna hold you, even because Joe Ellen was getting on my nerves. But do what you're supposed to do there, Gary. I'm not even gonna be mad at it. All right. The ladies end up doing a toast or whatever the case is, and the show pretty much goes off from there. I didn't take any further notes after the guys ended up getting up and leaving to go backstage, you know. But Brian, you really do need to own up to your SHI. You need to keep it 1000% honest with that lady. It's very clear that she is not going to leave you, unfortunately. And I think she just does not want to be blindsided. She rather it all come from you so that she knows how to fix up her lies when the other ladies approach her about it. So at least get your wife on the same accord as you. Instead of lying to her and further embarrassing her, at least let her know everything that's going on. Because obviously she's not going to go anywhere. But that's all I got for Real Housewives of Rhode Island. You guys can continue the conversation down below. Make sure you're liking up this video, especially when y'all was asking for it. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Hype up the video, all the great things. I'm Jamie, that's me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.